Hello everybody and welcome to the Chroma Digitizing Live. And today we're going to be talking about the new updates for Chroma. And if you have a legacy, we're going to show you how to upgrade it and what it needs to do. But man, I hope you guys are excited as I am. You know, Chroma is evolving every single day, and that's why it's really important that you guys upgrade your Chroma to the subscription method, because you're going to be able to get all the new updates all the time. So on today's live, we're going to be showing you all the new updates. And if you have any questions while we're doing the live, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm going to look at this little thing right here. And we're going to do it. So Jose Garcia says, paid subscriptions for a software you pay is diabolical. Well, let me tell you, man, I am from the days where you had to pay for Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. And every time a new edition came out, you know, so every time I had to buy it, it was like $4,000. And in a year and a half, they came out with a new update, but you had to buy that one. And then they would come out with the new update. So every 2.5 years, I was paying $4,000, $4,000, $4,000. And I had to do that. Now, with the subscription model, which I have now for Photoshop, it gives me access to everything that they have, their entire suite. Plus, I get online storage. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that they give you, and you're always getting the latest and greatest techniques. So I know that initially for some of you, you might be hesitant and thinking, oh my God, this is you know, you're going to spend the money anyway, but this is a better way to do it, and you get to control what you want, okay? So there are 3 different tiers. You have the Inspire tier, you've got Plus and Lux. And, you know, in order for you to get the updates, it does take web developers and software engineers to always keep this stuff going. And anytime you guys have any requests on special features that you want implemented, well, guess what? Somebody's got to be there on a computer to control all that and make all that happen. So it just doesn't happen out of thin air. So that's why the subscription model helps sustain everything and keep it going and get you the best possible software and the latest, you know, all the time. So I was kind of there with you at the same time, but at the, you know, now that you see it and you see the benefit that you're getting from it, it makes a lot more sense to get the subscription model, because as soon as we get an update, you're getting it too. So it's just a way to keep your software fresh all the time. I did start with Legacy myself, and then I switched over to the subscription model. And let me tell you, I haven't looked back. It's great. Chroma has evolved so much, and I think it's just wonderful. So right now, Inspire, if you pay for the Legacy program, it's $5.99. The Plus is $12.99. Lux is $19. For the subscription model, it's going to be $7.99 instead of the $5.99 for the first year, and then you go subscription after the first year. So you get to have it for a year, and then you get to go on the regular subscription. Okay? Yes. All right. Can you hold on a second? It's okay, man. We're here live. Things are going to happen. Can you elect to discontinue? How does that work? Yeah. I believe you can. I'm going to have to get back to you on that, Janelle. I believe that if you have the Legacy, if you have the subscription model and you want to stop, then you just stop getting it and you don't get it anymore. I'm not sure how exactly that's going to work, but I can find out for a second, so I'm going to put it out there. The people that are watching, let's see if we can answer Janelle's question. We got some people behind the keyboards that are going to help me answer that question for you. So somebody says that you can pause your subscription, and when you're ready to use it again, you can pay again, and it's ready to use. But once you have Legacy, can you go back to Legacy? That I'm not sure about. So we're going to have somebody answer that. Hopefully they're listening right now, and they're going to let us know. Okay? So we're going to be talking about the different updates that you're getting, and I'm super excited to get this thing started. So right now, how many of you have the subscription model compared to how many have Legacy? And have you thought about updating and getting the subscription model? So Janelle Porter, you have the Chroma Legacy. You have Chroma Lux Legacy. Nice. So, you know, Chroma Legacy is pretty powerful, but the updates that you're getting on the subscription model are really incredible, and it's something that is going to keep growing and growing and get better and better and better. Once you see the stuff that I have for you today, it's really cool. Like, for example, I want you to see this right here. Take a look at that. Do we do this camera there? Let's take a look. So this, I don't know if you can see that, but that right there is a sphere that I embroidered. And when you look at it, it looks like the shape, it's dimensional. That's just one of the things you can do with Chroma, with the Chroma Luxe Edition. And it's like really fantastic. All right, so let's go over to the computer and let's take a look at what we see. Or 1 second. Newsflash coming in. Oh, yes, thank you for that, Jorge. Right now, until Friday midnight, so this Friday at midnight, you can use the May Live 20, MAYLIVE 20. That's a code that will allow you to get 20% off of the upgrade price. So right now, it's you're going to pay $200 to upgrade to the subscription model, and you're going to get 20% off of that up until Friday at midnight. So that's an extra 20% off if you decide to do the upgrade, which I highly recommend. And it's May Live 20, MAYLIVE 20, okay? So we've got a couple things that we're going to talk about. We're just getting situated here. There's the code on the screen so you can see it. 20% off new and upgrades on the chromaembroidery.com. That includes the legacy one. So how many of you are using Chroma right now? And what other software? One advantage that Chroma has over all the other softwares out there is that ours is dual platform. You can use it on a Mac or you can use it on a PC. So I have a Mac at home and a PC laptop, and depending on how I feel, I can digitize on whichever one I want. And all the other softwares, you have to have peripherals to be able to run the PC software on your Mac. And sometimes, you know, I don't know about you, but I like my Mac to be just Mac, and I don't want to have extra software running on it and turn it into a PC, because that's why I bought a Mac, so it could stay a Mac. So if you're like me, you might not like that peripheral software, but Chroma is one of the only softwares out there for digitizing that you can use it on either platform, and it behaves the same. You don't have to do any special things. The shortcuts are almost the same on both platforms, so it's really, you don't have to relearn everything when you're doing it. So that's one of the advantages that Chroma has. So like I said, I use my Mac at home on the desktop computer, and then I have it on my laptop so I can digitize on the fly. Yes. All right. So Janelle, you haven't used any other software. That's okay, you don't need to. Once you go with Chroma, you never go back. All right? All right, we're ready. Let's go. All right, guys, let's take a look at the screen here, and we're going to show you. See? 1 second. Un momento, por favor. Yes, we're doing this. Now, Jose Garcia, you say you've only used Chroma. How do you like it? Are there any improvements that you'd like to see happen to it? Janelle, neither do I. But luckily, it's not that bad. It's kind of easy to go. All right, let's see. I think we're good now. And we will be showing you the screen of Chroma. There it is. Okay, so right off the bat, when you launch Chroma, you're going to see this central hub dashboard. On the dashboard, you're going to see all the programs that you were working on, or all the designs that you were working on, and you can just, with one click, you can just access them real easy. You can start a new design, you can open an existing one from something that is not shown up on the screen. We have tutorials that you can click, and you can check what's new. So every time, you know, you're also going to get updates to update your software. So anytime that happens, you can click what's new, and you can see what exactly has happened. So let's start with an eyedropper tool. I think it's really cool. So I'm just going to open up my underlay. So the eyedropper tool is really neat because when you click on the eyedropper tool, it's going to make everything match that thing. So let me show you what I mean. So let's click on this item right here. So when we look at this, it's a 50 density, it's a tatami fill. Let's take a look at the underlay. It's got contour underlay. So if I click this and I go and I click my, let's do this first. Let's click on this one. If we click on that one, notice it has contour, perpendicular, full lattice, and edge travel. So this one file has all that, whereas this one has only the contour as my function. So if I wanted to have this square have the same properties as the gold square, if I click on my eyedropper and I select the gold square, now all of a sudden this square has turned, not only did it take the color, but it's also taken on all the same characteristics. So if you're doing multiple designs and you forgot to do one thing and you couldn't make any adjustments, or you want to adjust multiple things, that's one way to do it. You can just take your eyedropper, and whichever one you pick, it will take on those characteristics. So as long as I select my object first, and then I can make it match whatever other characteristics I can. So that's one of the things. It's the eyedropper tool, and I think that's fantastic, because sometimes I'll make some changes and I want it to repeat those properties. So instead of me going here and clicking contour and lattice and re-clicking everything, I can just take the eyedropper to click it once, and it takes care of all those clicks for me. Now there's also a real-time image resizing. So when you're opening a new design, let's go to a new design and let's open this design. Let me take a look at something. There we go. Let's take this and just drop it in as a back tool. So we're going to go to our backdrop tool, and we're going to, let's do this one. So we have our abstract pattern right here. So if I were to grab this, this is a backdrop tool right now. Notice this is highlighted, so it highlights this. Once I go to my selector tool, it locks it in, and I can't move this. I can't resize it or do anything with it. I can only draw on top of it. But if I want to resize it, the cool thing about it is you can grab the corner and you'll get real-time feedback as to how big you want it. So sometimes you kind of want to see what it's going to look like at different levels. So although you can go to the height and width and change it, but here I can just do it on the fly, and I can kind of make subtle changes. If I think, you know what, I think that's a little bit too small, I can just go here, and I have the real time. And one advantage of this also is that with one of the new features is that this backdrop is going to be embedded in your file. So when you open it up again on this computer or another computer, even after you save it as an RDE, it'll still be there for you, and so you don't have to go look for it. So let's say you didn't have this backdrop on your computer, you can go to computer B on your other computer and it'll be there for you. So that's one of the big advantages of that. You can resize it, and it also stays with the file. So it carries over and you can take it with you. So that's two of the things that it can do. Now, a really cool thing that you can do now is if you were to send out, let's go back to this field right here. Let's go back to this one. Let's say I'm a digitizer and I'm getting paid to digitize, and I want to let my customers know that I made the digitize. So you can do watermarks, or under the tools section, or actually if you go to file and you go to print preview, you can actually put a logo on top of your screen, okay? So that's one of the advantages. So if you go to page setup or settings, there is a title right here. So I could just put a title, and let's just say Carl digitizes. And I click OK. So now when I send this file out to my customers, it's going to say Carl digitize. I can put my phone number here. You can even put a logo. So if we go to settings and you click this little part right here, you can put set logo. So you can actually have a picture or your company logo on the screen so that your people know who the file came from. And just in case they were looking through their digitized files and they didn't know who did it, they can look at the header and say, oh, Carl did it. Let me call him back because I have more work for him to do, okay? All right, let's see. So that's another new option that it can do, which is really fantastic. You can customize your run sheet and put whatever you want on the header. I think that's great. That way people know who it came from and you don't have to do a watermark. All right, let's go to here. Let me open this design. I had it there. Let me see if I could find it again. Let me go to my recent. There it is. So now we have blending, which is really, really fantastic. There's when you talk about gradients, you can blend the two colors together. And the thing that I showed you earlier that I had digitized was this complex fill motif dimensional. You can make your own motifs. You can add color. So let's talk about this single layer linear increase. So if I click over here and we go to the settings, you'll notice that this is a linear increase. So depending on the angle of your file, so notice that this is at an angle. If I make it go flat, that's going to change the increase. So it's going to go from thinner to thicker on the linear increase. Okay? There we are. And if you're doing a double layer, this is a concave layer. Let me zoom in on that so you can see it better. Whoa, wrong way. Hold on, stop, wait. Man, my mouse is going crazy right now. So you notice when you do the linear increase, it's going to start off low and then slowly the density will increase or get bigger so that you have the space. And depending on where your line is, your directional line is, that will determine where the gradient is coming from. So right now, it's a horizontal line, so the gradient is going to be horizontal. If I made it diagonal, it would change to a diagonal orientation, just like this. So if you want it left and right, right to left, just like that, okay? We have a single layer concave. We also have a convex, which will give you the opposite, thick in the middle and thin on the outside. This is going to help you get shading or try to get three-dimension in your designs without you having to sit there and do it all manually. It'll do it for you. And then we have the two-layer linear increase. So if I were to click on this icon or this little design right here, let's go back to our selector tool. There it is. Okay, when I click on that one, you'll notice that on the settings, it's a balanced increase. So a balanced increase is going to do it exactly 50-50. So if I had one color, if I added two colors, this is comprised of a yellow and a green. And you can select the colors that you want. Right now, it's using color number 5 and 6. So right down here, the 5 and 6. You can tell it which colors you want. And it just goes in order. It's going to go red or blue, red, green, orange, yellow, as many colors as you want. So here, because of the balanced increase, it's cutting this right down the middle. And when you look here, you can see that it says balanced increase. And when we go to this setting right here, it's also under balance, and you can change the density. So you can change how much of the gradient is happening or how little of the gradient is happening. And with the auto, it just automatically picks the color for you. Remember that when you're selecting your colors on the machine, you can do it manually, or you can go here and pick one of the 21 colors that are available on the bottom. So this is one way to pick the color. Right now, it just happens to be picking a random color. If I wanted to switch it to blue, I could click 1, hit apply, and you'll notice that it changed it. So without you having to do much, you can just, it'll pick the colors for you. And there's also a gradient on satin. If you're creating a patch and you want a nice gradient on the edge of the patch, or if you have a satin line that you want, you can also do the satin with 2 layers, and it'll balance the colors in between them. So it'll start them thick to thin and thick to thin and just kind of make it go all the way around. So these are all really, really fantastic. And with the, so somebody says, is there a different option besides linear gradient? Yes, there are. These are all your options. You have linear increases, concave, convex, and you have balance increases as well. And you can set how much of it happens. So there's a maximum density to a minimum density that you can set. So you can make this go really, really thin or even thicker, okay? Now the motif one is really, really neat because it gives that spherical appearance to it. If I were to come here to the settings part, wait, right there. If I go to the fill layer and I check off dimensional, look what happens when I take dimensional off and I hit apply. It's just going to go straight. So it didn't do anything. All it does is just kind of make it go straight across. It keeps it flat. But once you select the dimensional, it acquires the shape and makes it look like a sphere. And it's really, really neat, the outcome. You really can't appreciate it like that, but that looks like a dome. It's really cool and something that's really neat. Now, so we've got that. There's also, so that's, that's it for the different fills you can use. Let's go to a new design. So right here, if you're doing freehand versus the simple draw, we can just go to this icon and pick your freehand. You would go to Digitizing and pick freehand tool, click OK. And now you can use your mouse as just like a pen. So now you'll notice that it turned into a little pen right there. And we can just draw just as if it were a pen and just write whatever we want. Check that out. Nice. Once you do that, you can select it and you can convert it to whatever you want. So one of the advantages also is if you right-click, you can convert that to a steel stitch, a satin stitch. You can make it applique, sequin run, sequin fill. So all these are different options that you have if your machine has those options, okay? So it's quick. You can just click that little icon right there, go to Digitizing and switch from freehand to simple draw. Now, something that I really, really like is the fact that you can make your own motifs. So you guys saw the hat that I made. We made an episode with a hat where I made a type of weave pattern. So I'm going to make that weave pattern really quick for you. So I'm going to take my satin stitch and I'm going to create that weave pattern really quickly, just so you can see it. So that's one satin, and I'm going to start here, here, and somewhere right in the middle. Now, usually I would put markers on this, but I'm just doing this real quick so we could see what it looks like. So there it is. So I'm going to click my selector tool, and I'm going to make sure that all the start and end points are in the same spot. Okay? Let's make it all end right in the middle. Okay, now check this out. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to go to my file. And under special files, I'm going to go save motif. And I'm going to call this weave 2. And I'm going to hit save. So what does that mean? So now check this out. If I take my run stitch, my regular run stitch, and I just draw a line from here to here, and I right click, there it is, I can go to my fill type or my stitch type and go motif and come down here to where it says weave 2, click apply. Oop, I got to select it first. There it is. Go there, motif, go all the way down to my weave 2, which I just selected, and click apply. And now I have that weaved pattern. So I can make curves with it and it'll just follow along. So if I take my tool and I kind of go like this, I could write letters with it. There it is. So it's going to be able to create that motif, and you can create whatever motif you want, whatever style you want. So it doesn't matter. You get to pick it. Now, something that's really, really exciting that I find super fascinating is if you saw the video that I made, I used a variegated thread. But right now, you cannot pick a variegated color because it doesn't exist. So I'm going to create my own variegated thread. We're going to go to File, and there it is. Under Tools, you're going to see the Palette Creator. I'm going to click on the Palette Creator, and I'm going to add a color. Now, before I add anything, I'm going to call it variegated or variegated. I'm not sure how you guys say it, but that's how I'm saying it. So here I'm going to pick, I'm going to do a grayscale one. So I'm going to go white first. Then I'm going to pick my second color. We're going to go light gray. Pick my third color, darker gray. And then my last color, we're going to call that one black. I'm going to add another one. Let's click OK. So now I've got, you can see the colors are there. Let's add another one. This time we're going to make this one a blue variation. So it's going to be this one right here. First color is going to be the white. Second color is going to be the lighter blue. Then we're going to keep getting darker until we get to the darkest one. Click OK, and I'm going to save this as my variegated. And click OK. So now if I were to pick one of these colors here, I'm going to click on it, and I can go to this spot, and there's my variegated color. I click OK, and notice that there are two different types. So let's change it to the blue type, and once I click OK, I can click on this item and right-click, or right-click here on this, and it's going to change it to variegated. So let's take a look over here. Adam, take a look at this. Just a second. So this is variegated thread. Variegated means that it comes in a variety of colors, right? So when you buy these in the store, they come in blue hues, gray hues, multicolor, rainbow. And if you look at, I'm gonna go back to it in just a second though. But just take a look at this. So right now I have the variegated thread. Now each color only is about 10 centimeters long, so about 100 millimeters. So each one of these little sections kicks in, it gets really dark, and then it turns white again, blue, and it starts getting slowly darker. So when you're adding your variegations, if we go back to the screen, when you go back to the screen, let's open up the variegated one that we just did. We can just double click it. If we click on a color, notice how it says right there, 100. So this is the length in millimeters as to how long the colors are. So this is going to give you a more lifelike look when you're picking the variegated colors. And that to me is something that's really, really cool. So for example, if you were making, we don't need to change that one. Let's get rid of this. Let's say you're just making a shape. You're going to make a patch, and you want to create an outline of the patch, and you want to make that variegated. So here, F7, I can right-click. I can convert to a complex fill. I can right-click, utility, make a border. If I wanted the border to be variegated, I can just right-click on here and have my border variegated. And it's going to come out just like that. So you would think that it would have a stop, and it's just one color. Remember, this is one thread with multiple colors, and this gives you a really good, true view of what it would look like once you embroider it to see if you like it or not. So if you're doing freestanding lace and things like that, you can use a variegated thread for Christmas ornaments using red, yellow, greens. So the variegated, the fact that you can create your own color just makes it really, really cool and very appealing. So there it is. So you can switch it from grayscale to the blue and get a real life look. Now, one of the last things I want to show you guys is the 3D mock-up view. So if you don't know about this, get ready. If you click on these little 3D glasses right there, it'll show you a shirt, and this happens to be an army coat. And let's see, where is this on the army coat? I think it's too small. It's right there. It's really, really tiny. Let me make a big one so we can see it. So let's scale this up some. So if you're making a left chest logo, let's make it real. Let's make it all real big. And it would have helped if I had selected the whole thing at the same time. Let's select the whole thing. And right now, let's make that 4 inches. Let's make it 4 inches even. Whoops. All right, so now I'm going to go to my view here, and you'll be able to see it. There's my logo on the mannequin here. So if we go to like a cap, you can see the logo on a cap, and you can take a picture of this and put it on your store or send it as a proof to your customers to say, hey, this is about what it's going to look like on your hat. And you can even scale it to make it go a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. And you can change the location on the cap. You can put it on the side, left, bottom. Let's go to the left side so you can switch it over to the left. Left bottom. So you can place it almost anywhere you want. And for hoodies, you can do a hoodie, and that would be for the left chest logo. So here we have the front left. We can also make it for the back. So if we turn this around, there it is. Check that out. So that would be the design, the rising sun. So this is a great, great tool to show your customers before you send them the final. You know, this is a little mock-up. It does it for you. You don't need to have any special Photoshop skills. I've seen Christian make his magic with these, but this is so much faster, you know. You just pick the image, pick your placement, pick the scale, and you can even change the color of the garment so that it kind of matches your mood or whatever the customer wants. Just check that out. I went to mauve. Let's go to the back. So you can change, you can customize this almost, you have unlimited customizations. All right, so Rhonda Fisher asked, if I do the monthly payment, I still have to pay the $500. So the $500 is for the first year. You're going to pay for the software the extra $500 for the first year, and after that, you're going to be paying the monthly subscription. So for the first year, you pay for the software the first year, and then you do the monthly after that, okay? So that just covers the first year. So you're buying the software, and then the subscription model is just for you to keep getting the updates and all the new and great stuff that's included in it. So you're gonna have the latest software with all the updates, and all you have to do is anytime you get a notification for updating, you just update it, and boom, you've got the new features. And you can always check the computer screen to see what's new in there. And trust me, it's worth it. You know, Chroma has grown immensely since we started, and it just keeps getting better because every day I'll see something and I'm like, you know what, man, I wish Chroma could do this, and boom, they make it. And you know, we have people come in that are users, and they tell us, oh, they'd like to see this feature, and we add it. So we're always listening to our customers. They're always wanting special things, and we make it happen as most often as we can. We make sure that happens. So don't forget, you've got the 20% off. It's the May Live 20. That's good until Friday, midnight. At midnight, it turns into a pumpkin again, and you lose that discount. But if you're thinking about doing it, let me tell you, it's really, really cool. I'm using Chroma every single day. You guys see my tutorials, and every single day I'm learning something new, and it's really fascinating. And there's so many things that it can do. It's a very, very powerful tool, and every day it's just getting more and more powerful. So it does benefit you to get that subscription model. So if you already have it, it's just a little bit more to get the upgrade, and you only pay the difference. So if you already paid the $599 for Inspire, the legacy version, and you want the version, and you want to upgrade to the subscription model, you're going to pay $200 extra. Once you pay that $200 extra, that's what you pay for the first year, and after that, it's monthly. So it's well worth it. So Rhonda, Rhonda, you wouldn't be purchasing it again. You're just getting the upgrade for it. So you're only paying the extra $200. You already paid the $500. So now you're just paying the $200 extra for it. Okay? I hope that answers your question. So if you already have the legacy, if you have the legacy software, which is the non-subscription model, you can upgrade. You're just going to pay the difference. So whatever the difference is what you're going to pay for the first year, and then after that, you're going to pay monthly. It's, like I said, it's well worth it. I'm upgrading to the Lux yearly subscription, and the system is not taking the discount code. Could someone please? All right, Lynn Ward, I hope you got it. I think you said, I thought I saw a thumbs up that worked. Okay, perfect, Linda. Miss Lynn, sorry, Lynn. You're going to be happy, Lynn. If you're doing digitizing on the regular, remember, it's all about time. And with Chroma Lux, you know, I highly recommend you guys get the Lux. I know that Inspire is pretty powerful, but with Lux, it saves you a lot of steps. where you can still get the job done with Inspire, but with Lux, it's just going to make you do it so much faster, because with the right-click option, you can do, I just made a video on how to right-click to do the push-pull compensation. So in this particular circle right here, if I wanted to adjust the push-pull compensation, I can just right-click and hit Utility and change the style. So just by changing the style from a normal, which is like 0 pull comp, to, let's say, a satin, if I click OK, and we go right here to the layers, you'll notice
the pricing is $200 for an upgrade from Inspire Legacy to Inspire Subscription. If they want to upgrade from Lux Legacy to Lux Subscription, it's $500.
Right. Okay.
Which Rhonda was asking, and I'm telling her 500. It's 500 today, and then she
Yeah,
gets 20%
for
off of that.
okay. So for Inspire, it's $200. For Plus and Lux, it's $500. Yeah,
yes.
but you're just paying. But you're just paying the difference. So whatever it was, whatever you paid for the Legacy, you just pay the difference to get the subscription model, and it's only for the first year. And after that, it's this one. Then you go to the subscription.
Then you go to the monthly, or they also have an option to just pay yearly as well.
Right.
They do month to month, or they can just pay the whole year upfront.
And they get a discount for paying the whole year, right?
Yeah, they get. I believe it's also 20% off if they do the whole
Right.
year.
So you could pay monthly, or you can pay the whole year and get an additional 20% off of that too. So there's ways to save on it. So it does, it's going to be worth it. Thank you, April, for that.
I don't want any confusion.
No, that's okay. Just wanted to make sure. So let's get that clear. If you have the Inspire, you're going to pay $200 to get the upgrade. If you have Plus and Lux, it's $500 to get the upgrade, and you only have to pay that. But for the first year, that's all you pay. And then you go to the monthly subscription. During the monthly subscription, you can pay by month, or you can pay the whole year and get a 20% discount off of that. So we're trying to help you guys save some money. If you do the whole year, you save 20% right off the bat. So that's great. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Quintana Browder, how do you like Chroma Lux? You say you have it, how do you like it? Are you an avid digitizer? You're kind of getting your feet wet with it? Make sure you tune into the Chroma Digitizing channel so you can see all my tutorials on how to use Chroma and how to unleash its potential. It's very, very powerful. So you purchased it with your machine. Okay, good. That's what I did. When I got my machine, I just went for Lux as well. Kind of bundled it all in there so that I wouldn't have to pay, this, and just put everything in one shot and got it that way. Excellent. So if you have it and you want to upgrade to the subscription model, you can always do that. You don't have to do it now, but you can do it later on in the future. But like I said, all the different upgrades and everything that's coming out are really fantastic. It's only to make you more efficient and to help out and to make your designs look really, really good. And you can actually use your mouse to draw on the canvas as if it were a pen and turn that drawing into an embroidery file, which is really fantastic. So it's not just about clicking and making circles and stuff. You can, with the freehand tool, you can literally just sit there and draw your stitches one by one. I made a design of the hands of God. It's a Michelangelo design like this. You've probably seen it where the hands are touching. And I use cross-hatching methods and needlepoint type shading methods just by doing it by hand, and it came out really, really nice. So those are different ways that you can use it to your advantage. So let's say we have this circle here, and we wanted to, Quintana, you're getting your feet wet. That's good. Well, you picked a good pool to get your feet wet in. Chroma Lux is going to be very easy. It's pretty intuitive. It's not like other softwares where I have used different softwares, and some of them, the features that they have are so deeply embedded that you have to click on so many different things to get to it that it's not as intuitive. So with this, most of all of our tools are out in the open. You can see all the tools in here. They're all out in the open. And then here on your menu bar, you have all the different things that you can do, and it's all pretty much right there. There's nothing that's too hidden. And once you learn the lay of the land, it becomes super, super easy. And the more choices that you have for a particular stitch, the more it will allow you to do. So if you can't do something, it's going to X out everything you can't do. Oh, One more thing that we have now is the eraser tool. So let's say I wanted to split this circle in half, okay? I have selected just a circle. If I wanted to split this circle in half and make it 2 colors, I could use the slice tool and turn it into 2 colors, or I can use the eraser tool. So if I were to select both of them, let's select the whole thing. If I were to select both, it's not going to let me use the eraser tool. That's what I'm talking about, that smart technology where it only lets you do what you can. That way you're not trying to figure out and wondering why it's not working. If I were to click on just the center circle, notice that my eraser tool becomes available. I can click on that. And now, depending on how much I zoom in or zoom out, that's going to determine the size of the circle. So you don't change the size of your pen, you change the size of the image that you're working on. Okay? So let's say I wanted to erase a star out of the center of this. Forgive my star. Boom. So there, I have erased that. There it is. And I can make a little erasing mark here. I can make erase there. And let's say I go over this, it doesn't matter. It's not going to erase it because that's not part of what I needed. So the cool thing about this is that I can make all these marks and it's going to look just amazing. So before, the way to erase would have been, so let me undo this. One of the ways to erase would have been that I would have had to pick one of these little stars and draw the star in the middle of my image. And let's hide this for a second. And let's change it to a different color. Let's make the star, we're gonna click the star, right click, convert to complex fill. We're gonna make it white. Let's put it right in the middle. Let's show our circle again. So if I wanted to erase what was in the background, I would have had to right click the star and go to utility and remove overlap. So if I remove the overlap, now if I were to take this and move it out of the way, wait a minute. How come it didn't do it? Let's see, right click, utility, remove overlaps. There it is. So if I move the star out of the way, we've got the little gap. Now, remember when you're doing digitizing, you don't want the file to be exactly the same size as what you are taking out, because you do want them to overlap slightly. So a better way to do this is with the eraser tool. So if I were to click on the red, only the red, I can take my eraser tool and just erase just a little bit on the inside of the star. Notice the star is being erased, but hold on, you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. We're going to remove it and stop right there. So now, when we hit our selector tool and we move the little star out of the way, let's move the star, not that. Let's click this one. There it is. When we move the star, notice that I'm left with this. So instead of having such a very dense file, I'm able to only remove what I need and not like an exact border. So this way, I know that the white is going to go over here and become one with it. So if I'm making a patch, I know it's not going to separate. If I'm making a freestanding lace, I know it's not going to separate. It's all going to grab and bite together. Yes, Quintana, there is a slicing tool. It's right over here. You see this knife right here? If I click on the knife and I'm doing this, I can just slice across it like this. Boom, and now it just sliced it. Okay, so now we have two separate items. If I go to my selector tool and I right click and I break it apart, now I can take this bottom half and move it over, and I can take the top half and move that over. And we can change it to different colors. All right, so that's one way to use the slicing tool. No matter what the shape, you can just take it and slice right through it. But I really like that erasing tool because sometimes you don't want to just make a perfect slice on the edge, because remember, when you're embroidering this, and because of push-pull compensation, the red and the blue, you're going to get a slight little gap right in the middle. So in order for you to compensate for that, you would have to take this and literally overlap this image so that by the time it's done with the push-pull, it'll all be bound together and not have any gaps. You're welcome, Quintana. Yes. So right now is the time, guys. We still have a little bit of time left. What other questions do you guys have? And remember the promo code MAYLIVE20. Get yourself that 20% off the upgrade right now. And remember, you are only paying for the difference in price from legacy to the subscription model. You're not having to pay for it all over again. Let's see if you guys can stump the chump. Oh, and don't forget, we've got Deco Summit coming. If you don't already have your Deco Summit tickets, make sure you go get them now. The prices will be going up pretty soon. But make sure, Deco Summit, as you know, I'll be there. And you want to come see me and ask me questions, I'm more than happy to do it. It's on September, right? September 10th, 11th, and 12th. It's a 3-day networking event where you get to learn. You're going to have a hands-on experience with the machines. If you're not sure if you want to switch to a double head or a single head, or you kind of want to get your hands, you want to get some hands-on experience on the machine before you buy it, you can come in, take a look at it. You can learn some stuff. They're going to have workshops. You can network with all the people that are doing the same thing as you. And if you have any questions, you can learn. We have Janelle, that she had her machine. Janelle Porter, what's up, girl? Jeanette Porter, that's my girl right there. She came to Deco Summit last year. She hadn't used her machine for about a year or so. And then when she came, she went back home and she started using it over and over again because of some friends that she made during Deco Summit. She got the inspiration that she needed and she was able to use her machine, and now she's growing her business. So good on you, Miss Janelle Porter. I remember Janelle. I hope I see her again this year. Quintana Browder will be there. Excellent, Quintana. I can't wait to see you. Janelle, hey Janelle. I can't wait to see you guys again, man. We had so much fun last year. Let's do it again. And we have Chroma classes as well. So not only do you have hands-on with the machines, but you also have Chroma classes. We have a question right here. Let me answer this one real quick. From Julie Johnson. Are you answering? I think she's answering somebody else, right? Yes, she is. Oh, we're answering her. Ah! All right, so that question was answered. Let's see. We're gonna have, we're gonna have hands-on digitizing classes in Deco. We're gonna have hands-on on how to operate the machines. So it's a full stop. We're gonna have courses on how to do marketing. We've got courses on how to network. So it's full things. You're gonna hear from the experts what they've done to scale their businesses. So it's you get everything else. Now the Chroma class, regardless of whether it's on the subscription model or the legacy model, you're going to learn something. So it really doesn't matter which one you get. A lot of the extra features are really cool to have, but you'll still be able to learn something with the regular. And it's not about the new features, but more about the technique. So at least you get to learn the proper techniques on how to digitize, which is really important. You need to know the theory behind it as to what you're doing. So when you're building a house, you have to build the foundation first, and then you build your walls, and then you put your roof and your ceiling. If you don't do it in that order, you can be the best drawer, but if you don't know how to draw in the correct order, it's not going to come out right. And digitizing is the same. You need to know about push-pull compensation. You need to know that your base layer might have to be a little bit bigger than what your outline is going to be, so that by the time it's done, everything fits. Sometimes what you get on a digitized screen might look really bad, but once it embroiders out, it all fits together and everything falls into place. So what you see on the screen is not necessarily what you get. This is not like Photoshop where you can make butt cuts like this and have everything, butt up against each other and make everything look perfect. But then once it digitizes, you're going to get gaps and seams. So with digitizing, it's a little bit different, and that's what we're trying to teach you. You're going to know the different techniques, the theory behind it, how it works, and you're going to get a better understanding of how to digitize. We had a question. Question? Mr. Sir? No? Question? Okay. So of these new features, which one do you think you're going to use the best? Like so far, I'm so stoked. So when I'm doing my digitizing, I'm going to put my logo on my sheet so that when my customers get them, they can get their digitizing with my my logo on it. They have my phone numbers on there. So if they ever need to order it again, it's all on that piece of paper. Because most of them are going to print those run sheets out so that they can use it. You can also save the files for almost any machine. So let's say you have other machines, you can still save those files. So Chroma is going to work for any machine that you have. It produces about 42 different types of file types, which work on most machines. Bye, Miss Lynn. Thank you. It was really appreciate to have you. I can't wait to see you again. All right, guys, that's going to be all for us here for the Chroma Digitizing Live. Make sure you keep up with the tutorials. Make sure you like, share, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Make sure you you follow us, like the videos, and also the 20% off promo code is MAYLIVE20, MAYLIVE 20 for your 20% off. And again, you're just paying the difference, okay? We'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you for watching.
Right? And that's what you guys are here for, right? You guys are here because you have challenges or questions that you want answers to.
Because you only have one chance to make a first impression.
Deco Summit is very different than a typical trade show that we attend. Everybody is here to network and learn.
Here at Deco Summit, I'm honored to be one of the speakers. I was talking about how to grow your business and find customers, and then I get to be a student. So I've been in some hands-on embroidery. I'm obsessed.
If you've never been to Deco Summit, I would tell you definitely need to get out here. If you're on the fence whether or not to get an embroidery machine, I think that this would be a good experience. You get hands-on training, you meet a lot of people that are already in the industry.
Without coming here, I would have never turned my machine on, so
there you go. One step at a time.
Challenges, right? And that's what you guys are here for, right? You guys are here because you have challenges or questions that you want answers to.
Because you only have one chance to make a first impression.
Deco Summit is very different than a typical trade show that we attend. Everybody is here to network and learn.
Here at Deco Summit, I'm honored to be one of the speakers. I was talking about how to grow your business and find customers, and then I get to be a student. So I've been in some hands-on embroidery. I'm obsessed.
If you've never been to Deco Summit, I would tell you definitely need to get out here. If you're on the fence whether or not to get an embroidery machine, I think that this would be a good experience. You get hands-on training, you meet a lot of people that are already in the industry.
Without coming here, I would have never turned my machine on, so
there you go. One step at a time.